Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of this channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today we are going to play with paper and make some art. We're actually going to make little watercolor swatches, so I've pulled out a bunch of rag paper book pages. So any old book pages will work. This is also a great project for your scraps. If you have some strips of paper that you'd like to pull from your scrap bin, you can use that. I've also got metallic watercolors and regular watercolors. I will link this set. This is a great beginner set, and I will link it in the description box below. And then for the watercoloring, I'm going to be using a variety of the watercolor pens. So I will link these below too. And basically that's what you need for supplies today. You can use any type of paper to do this project on. Like I said, scraps are great. You could try it on some music paper. You can try it on some handwritten paper. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pause, get set up, and I'll be right back. All right, I've pulled some pages that I want to do it on. I've chose some rack paper book pages because that's what I have, and some old antique French ledger, some French handwritten. This is just a scrap, some music paper that I think is strong enough to hold it, and also some braille paper. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first is I'm going to try it on this dictionary paper. I haven't done it on these papers before, so I don't know how the paper will hold up. You will want a paper that is strong because you're going to watercolor on it. So when you're adding water to paper, obviously it gets weaker and it has the potential to get weaker. And so you just want to make sure that you're using a paper that can handle the water. And so all you do with this technique is you decide where you want to do, we're making basically boxes across and boxes down, and then we're going to tear these up later, or you could save these pages and use them as, pages in a junk journal. But you're basically just going to watercolor little boxes, just kind of like little swatches. And so I've got some old watercolor here, and you're just going to watercolor down a box. You can make it as light or as dark as you want it. Right there, I've got quite a bit of darkness. I'm going to add just a little bit of other color to kind of blend in. There we go. Now we can see it on camera. And so I've just done a box. And so I kind of do a squiggle with the darker color at the top and blend down until you've got like a lighter color down here at the bottom. And this is my watercolor swatch. And then from there, you're going to keep going. You can add a little bit of other color into it if you want, but keep going and blend out another swatch. So basically you're blending from dark at the top to light at the bottom with your watercolor brush. And with the watercolor brush, if you've never used it before, these you fill up with water. Most of them unscrew counterclockwise. So it's actually the opposite of the way that we normally unscrew things. Just keep that in mind when you're trying to fill up your water brush. Sometimes you feel like it's broken and it's stuck. I promise you it's not. It's just the way that these water brushes unscrew. So first of all, fill up your water brush with water. You see the little bubble in there. You just add water in there, and then there's a little part here in the middle where if you squeeze it, a drop of water will come out of the end of the brush. Then you can touch your watercolors. You can blend off to the side or pick some up and, make it lighter or darker. If I wanted to add a little more in here to get more of a blend, I could do that. There we go. And so you're just making little squares down the side of your page. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and pick up another color and just kind of blend these two together, make it more of a plum color. And so then I'm going to go ahead and start my next box. And so you just wiggle it down like that. Like that's a perfect little watercolor blend there. I'm going to darken it just for the camera. These will dry lighter than what you see right now. So I kind of do my blend and then I do my box around it just to kind of clean up those edges. You can do however you want to do it. I'm going to pick up a little bit more purple here and just darken that top a little bit. And so from there, it's pretty easy. Like you can just watercolor on down. Like I picked up a whole big bunch of purple there just so the camera could see it. But you just make your watercolor brush do the work for you. Darken at the top, you're not really squeezing out a whole bunch of water. You're just making sure that your brush is staying wet as you're working. Now, for that purple one, if you decided that that was too dark, you could easily just go through and blot some off of it. And it'll remove a little. It doesn't remove a whole lot, but it'll remove a little. And then so for this one, I'm just going to make my box all the way around it again. I can touch that up and blend it. I grabbed quite a bit of that dark purple there. And so I'm going to blend that back out, and there we go. So this is the first little one. You're just going to continue to do this. And so I've got a little, this is actually a stamp cleaning cloth, and I just got it wet and keep it in this bin, and I wipe off the nib of my pen on that, and that kind of cleans it so that I can move on to a different color combination. I'm going to work with these blues right here. And so I'm going down the center now. So for me, what I'm working on is making strips. So I'm going to tear up this piece of paper into strips. And so I've got one there, and I'll go into a different color here and kind of blend these two together and go here. And I'm just making that little watercolor blend. And then I'm going to show you another embellishing trick here at the end. So for this one, I'm just kind of blending all of this together. I need a little bit more of a dark blue. There we go. And I find that it is better if you blend off of your paper, because this is really cottony rag paper, and it's going to want to pick up whatever ink you've got on there. So when I did the purple and it was too dark, it was because I went straight to paper without doing the little blend off here to the side. So I want to do a little bit more with this purple color. So I'm just going to keep getting that over there. And I'm going to darken this right through here. Just the camera's not picking it up very well, so I'll do a little darker there. Okay, I'm happy with that. And then we need one more super dark one, or purple or something else down here at the bottom. I think I'm going to try to pick up this aqua color. It's kind of a green teal color. Let's kind of blend some of that out. And so this set that I'm using, this is just a beginner watercolor set, and I will link it. It's super cost effective. You know, it's not going to break the bank. So I've got those ones done, and you can see I didn't do the square boxes as much around those ones, not to worry. So we're going to clean this brush real quick, and I'm going to move on and do another color combination. And the water brushes you can use again and again and again, and you just clean the bristles, like I'm just wiping it back and forth, and that's good enough. If you see some color stay on there, that's okay. That's kind of how these ones are. And so for this one, I'm going to do more of like an earthy green. This one I'll put in a forest journal, and I'll show you how I'm going to use these two. So I'm going to start at the top, wiggle my watercolor brush down, and you get what you get there. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up another green. Let's go ahead and get some of that one. That's super bright. I think I need to mix it together. And I'm going to do this one down here. And just wiggle your brush down. If you feel like your brush is not wet enough, then you just very, very gently squeeze it. Nothing too dark there. And so now I've got some black, and I'm going to add that to the green and kind of darken up, get a very, very deep olive green. Very deep. There we go. And I'm just going to blend that one down. So I'm doing very, very, neutral shades. Now I would like to pick up a little bit of yellow or something else. I'm going to do a little contamination there, and that's okay. And I'm going to blend that, just a little something more light. We'll see if this looks lighter. And so there's that one. So I've got some strips here. You can kind of see I've got some strips. Now these are wet, so keep in mind when these dry, they will all be more blendy and look better when they're dry. I'm going to set that one off to the side. I'm going to do a bunch more, and then we'll continue to work with these. So I did that one. Let's try it on some music paper. And so for the music paper, because I've already got green on my brush, I'm just going to go ahead and start here and blend that out. And so your paper quality greatly impacts the quality of your blend. And so if you have watercolor paper and you want to use that, it will probably work way better than what I'm doing here with just these, you know, rag paper book pages and stuff like that. So then I'm going to continue working. Let's go ahead and go sideways with this and just continue to do that little blend at the top and then drag it on over, and you get what you get. I made a little mistake there, can kind of clean it up, and that's fine. And then we do need to get some other color of green in here. I'm going to wash out this brush a little bit. I do have water off to the side too. If I've got a super dark color, I can go ahead and pick up some water and then clean my brush on my little cleaning cloth. Let's go ahead and go back into this. This is more of a pure green. And let's mix that with a little bit of black. And let's go here. It's not really that much different, a little bit. I think we need that yellow again. I just think it looks better with this kind of yellow tone mixed with the green. So we're going to do that. So just experiment, play with your stuff that you have. If you don't have watercolor paints yet, I linked it. They're, like I said, they're super fun to play with, and this is just one of the things. So you can do this down an actual page and put that in your journal. What I'm making right now are just strips that I'm going to use later. And so I do want to play with the pinks a little bit more, and then I'm going to also get some metallics and add some metallics in here. So for this one, I'm just going to make my little pink blend here and drag it on out. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to get a little bit more of a wine color. Watercolors are just so fun to play with, and you can do so many different things with them. And then this is a much better paper. You can tell that this, you know, old document is just such a better quality paper because of the way that the watercolors are reacting. And so I'm going to blend these two together. You guys can't really see that part, but I'm blending those two together and then doing another blend here. So you can see I'm kind of keeping in color families. You don't need to do that. You can totally do whatever color family or not. Just do your favorite colors. You could do the colors of the journal. That's typically what I do, is just work in those very, you know, matchy colors or coordinating colors to whatever style of journal I'm working on. I really want this one to be light, so I am trying to add a lot of water there for that one. I'm going to actually touch some water, and then I'm going to do a very light one down here at the bottom. Love that. Pick up a little bit more pink for up here at the top. I like the blend. That's what I'm after. And there's that one. So that'll dry. These are super nice with the handwriting behind them. As they dry, they will not be as wrinkly like this either. So keep that in mind. So there's some on some rag paper book page, and you can see this is much more cottony and it really picked up that ink. This is on handwritten old document, and you know, the better quality paper picks up ink differently. Let's go ahead and do some on this music paper that I've got out here. Let's see how we like it. So I'm just going to keep working sideways because I'm going to tear these into strips, and I'm just going to decorate my journal with these strips. So I'm just continuing to work with this. I'm actually out of water in this one, so I can fill it up, just suck up some water there in your pen, and then it will fill. And so I'm just going to suck up some more water. There we go. And I've got a little bit more water I can play with. Yes. Okay. So here's some water for this one. Ooh, this paper is nice too. So I've got a little blend there. I really like this burgundy color. I'm going to pick it up. This might be great strip for Valentine's Day. There we go. And I'm going to pick up a super light pink down here at the bottom. More of a rose color. There's that one. And then let's get some purple in here. I don't have much purple out to play with anymore because I blended it with blue. Ooh, this is a nice one. So then I've got this plummy purple down here at the bottom. So see, it's fun to do. Now let's talk about what to do with them. I want to use these metallics quick and then we'll move on. The metallics, they're going to work the same way. This is, again, an inexpensive set, but just pick up your metallic paint. I find that sometimes you need to add regular watercolor underneath the metallic. It just, sometimes the metallic is very light. So there's the purple there. And I'm just going to clean that brush just a little bit. And I'm going to pick up some of this gray that's over here. It's more like a pewtery silver. And so we've got a hint of purple in it because there's still a hint of purple in my brush. For this one, I'm actually going to pick up a little bit of the watercolor and the blue metallic and go through there. And then let's go ahead and just do regular watercolor down here at the bottom. So I've got a variety of things there. I'm doing 4. Ideally, you would probably do 5, just to keep it, you know, that odd number. But so I've just done them in strips. Now let's move on and show you what we do with these. The only thing I haven't played with yet is the Braille paper. Let me do the Braille paper and then I will show you what we're going to do with them. All right, so here's where we're at. I did a whole bunch more off camera and we're gonna continue to work with these and I'll show you how to use them. So these ones I made, if there's multiple on one page, I made so that I could tear them into little strips. I'm not worried about it tearing perfectly. The more imperfect is probably better. And so these ones are just going to be little embellishments on the sides of my pages. I can clip them in and use them you know, as like a paper clipped in embellishment. I could glue them down on the page. You can use these little strips any way that you want. And so I've got some little strips. So I'm not going to use them all together. I'll just pick a journal where each one of these, you know, works in. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is you can do a little bit more embellishing before you use them. And I'm going to show you a bunch more ways to use them too. But these are Copic multi-liners. This is the 0.3. This is the 0.5. I like the 0.5 a little bit better. And so sometimes it's good to draw around your, so I've got 4 little cubes here. I'm going to just roughly, very, very roughly draw around, and I go around it twice, just like that, just like that. Just draw around. You're just drawing a square around. You're kind of highlighting and outlining where the little box would have been. And so you just go around it like that. And it's just very, very loose and messy. Don't overthink it, because if you overthink it, it's going to be worse than if you just left it messy. And that kind of helps define the look of it. You can go in and you can write something on there like, you know, just squiggles of language so that it looks like it's, you know, saying something. And so it's like a little sample. You can do that to it. You could number them. Like I could go and do my little boxes around this guy. And so you can see I'm not connecting the lines even. I'm just going around them and making little box like that. And I go around it twice because just like when you messy sew, you want that, you know, over the top messiness. When you do it twice, it just underscores that messiness. But I could go in here and I could say number 1 and I could say number 2, you know, and you could do that where you've got your little paint samples numbered. So there, I've numbered mine. I've written on them. You could leave this one with just outlines. If you go over the little bit, like right here when I dabbed it, it got super messy. Outlining it is another way to draw the eye away from that mess and back into that square shape. So outlining is really helpful when doing this technique. I wouldn't do it on all of them, but I really do like it, especially on the messy ones. And you can see I've even torn the corner off of that one. Doesn't matter. So there's those 3. I will use those. These are great for art journals as well as regular like shabby chic journals. So this is a journal page that I made on the ledger. It is still wet and still drying, but I will just use this as a journal page. Just did a little embellishment down the side of it. it's just something neat to add into a journal. So this one is still wet, like I said, but that's kind of how it looks on the ledger page. I did a book page where I'm going to just put it in the book the same way. And so you can see some paper reacts better than others with the painting. Here is a whole bunch, and these are still wet too. Here is a whole bunch that are just little paint samples. You can go in there and dab. It's okay. It's not really ruining anything. And so these ones I will tear into strips and I will use as embellishments in the journal. And then if they were dry, I would tear them right now. This is another book page. And so some of it has metallic. I don't know if you guys are picking up the sheen, but a couple of them are metallic. So I mixed regular watercolors with metallic. And this again would go into a journal. It is a folio. Can't get it apart, but it is a folio. These are the music ones that I've done. And so same thing, I would tear these. And so you can see where I followed the pattern of the music. And so I would just tear them to use them. And I will just make little strips. Now you can embellish pockets and pages and tags and all kinds of things with them. You can do it as part of a journal page. It doesn't have to be just an embellishment. You can do it on old postcards or old, those little music cards that you guys have seen me use before. You can do it on those. You can basically add a little final touch, finishing touch to anything that you're making, right? And so for these ones, I'm just going to use them as strips. That's why I've made them as strips. And I did the braille too, and I want to show you the braille. And so this one, it's a little more messy torn on one side, and I do like that better than the straight edge. So I would just go in and tear around it. And then I would glue this down to embellish. I could make a belly band like this. And even though it's painty and it's watercolory, you can see the metallic shimmer. And so mixing metallics in with regular non-metallic is really, really nice. I did like to do that in a couple of places. But you can see on the braille paper the way that it looks. So I'm going to tear them into strips this way. And then these ones I just had extra braille and I did it that way. But you can see even the braille has some shimmer. It's still working on drying. But the braille adds a different look because the watercolor paint will suck around the little braille and get darker around the little bumps. So again, I will use these as strips. But you can totally make journal pages just like this and have them on hand and then pull them out of your box and put them in your journals. So a whole bunch of embellishments we just made. I will use some of these in upcoming journals. You guys will see me. It's a fun thing to do on a day where you want to create, but you don't necessarily want to get all involved in a very intense project. This is just fun. You are just playing with watercolors. Here I did one for like a bee journal or a sunflower journal. This can go, I mean, in any journal, right? You just play with your watercolors. So get them out, have fun, enjoy the day, and make something beautiful. I will see you guys again tomorrow with another junk journal idea. Thank you guys so much. Bye.